grounded here in this fading memory, always there in the back of my mind. You're leaving me like everyone does. I'll say goodbye with tears in my eyes. This gem that I found, I have crafted it for you. So what if I'm lost? So what if I can't? This pain in my heart, it's loneliness. I'll say goodbye with tears in my eyes. This gem that I found, I have crafted it for you. I'll say goodbye with tears in my eyes. This gem that I found, I have crafted it for
From the high plains of the Midwest, I bid you good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, whatever your time zone might be. My nod to the late and great Art Bell. I'm Keith Sharp,
And I'm G. Dressel.
and we welcome you to Life After Life, a paranormal webcast where we talk about the paranormal, UFOs, or the unexplained. And the biggest question of them all, what happens when we die? Stay tuned. Hey.
You did it.
Hey, we did it. Yeah, successfully.
job, man.
Hey, did you guys know Matt was Rockstar? Huh?
That was
How about
great.
that was fantastic,
Well done,
man.
Yeah, absolutely.
Guitar, vocals. Matt, I'm going to bring you on here in a minute, but dude, that song could have been a hit. I know you said you guys weren't shopping for a label, and we need to talk about that just a little bit because I love music, man.
Yes.
But
you
dude,
did.
that's freaking awesome song. You'd have been in a mansion, dude, if you released that somewhere. But how was your weekend?
Good. How was yours?
It was fine, except for the baby.
Oh, I know. Yeah.
Yeah,
I'm glad he's in
my
the hospital.
yeah, the grandson got RSV and his O2 was like 84%. Had to get him in the hospital, get him on oxygen.
Stuff's
and
scary, man.
It is, especially his age. He's just a
Yeah.
little guy, and
Little
but he
baby.
came home yesterday, so yay, he's
Yes.
good.
Very happy about that.
Yeah, so man, there's been a lot of news stuff, right?
No, absolutely.
I-
Hey, and for those of you who are new to our channel, you know, we follow the Delphi case since day one, pretty much.
well,
I'll let you-
no, not
No,
really.
no,
We were 2 years
No,
late.
no,
on
no,
that.
no. Listen, I'm saying of our channel.
Yeah,
Of our
when
channel.
we started the channel, yeah, and
But
we
we
have a long history of Matt.
long history.
We go back, yeah,
since the beginning of our channel.
oh yeah, it was the beginning of our channel, and so we've known Matt,
dear friend,
great guy, great sleuth,
entertaining,
and great rock star.
Yeah.
And so let's go ahead and get the show
Absolutely.
going. Let's bring Matt on. Hey, what's up?
Hey guys.
Hey, man, dude. Now come on, why didn't you shop that song?
It was 2013. We were just interested in playing shows, so we did some
Right.
songs, and I don't know. It wasn't something that was in the stars for us. So
You didn't try it all? You just
no,
you
not
got-
really.
You
Not
guys
really.
just went to okay, so you just went to the recording studio just for kicks and cut a few songs and.
I was in a band with another really good musician, and we had 4 members of the band, and he had a studio in his house, and so we actually did it in there.
Damn, sounds good.
That's super cool.
Did you do it on Pro Tools?
I don't remember the program he used, but he engineered it and mixed it and stuff like that. It was definitely a demo, but it ended up, being pretty popular around town. So it was kind of
Just
cool.
nerding out on music.
Yeah,
Listen
it
here.
could have been worldwide if the guys would have shopped that, Matt. God,
Yeah, I don't know about that, but I
I don't know,
appreciate
dude,
it.
it's a great song. It's a great
Thank
song.
you.
And he's got some others that I've listened to that are really good. So we may.
You do know Keith is obsessed with music.
Yeah,
now,
he
right.
knows.
Like obsessed.
Yeah,
obsessed.
we
like
send-
the most obsessed.
Yeah,
I've
we
been
send
around.
pictures of our guitars to each other.
Yeah.
They're like your friends.
He calls me Beetle Boy because I had like
Yeah.
four Rickenbackers and a Telecaster and but
Yeah.
I did have Randy Rhoads stuff. I was a Randy Rhoads freak, man, when I was about 17.
Hey, listen, Matt.
Randy Rhoads is awesome.
Oh God.
I brought a friend over recently who stayed at the house for a while with Keith, and right when we walked in, Keith hands us this massive bottle of like glass water, like in a glass bottle.
Mountain Valley.
He's like, the best water ever, and guess who drank it? Elvis.
Elvis drank it.
He was obsessed with it, right?
Even if Elvis never drank the water, it's like the purest, cleanest
I
water
know.
I've ever drank. It's expensive as shit.
But if Elvis is gonna drink it, then it ought to be
Hey,
good.
Fit enough for a king, baby. So, they should have had Elvis like doing commercials.
They
Fit-
should
Fit for a king.
Absolutely.
All right, well, let's get on. Matt, there has been a lot of stuff going on with this case. We prepared nothing because we're going to have you on. We're just going to kind of just fly by the seat of our pants, man. And
Yeah.
let's talk about a little bit. Let me pull it up here. This letter that came out, which you sent to me.
Mhm.
And I was just really, I got to admit, I was shocked. I was like, wow.
Oh yeah, there it is.
So and this is legit. And can you talk a little bit about this letter?
This was a letter that was sent by Richard Allen to the Circuit Court in Carroll County, requesting a lawyer. I think when he originally had his his arraignment and stuff like that, he made the choice that he was going to hire a lawyer, and so it kind of threw a stick in his spokes when he couldn't afford it. And so now, realizing that the charges are a lot more serious and that they might have a pretty bad case against him, I think he's scrambling to figure out how he can get legal counsel.
Right. So watch this thing. They say there's some type of little trial that they're having on November 22nd. Do you know anything about that?
No, I haven't heard that.
Yeah, there was a guy on I watched, and he goes, Richard better get on the stick, man. He said, because they got another little mini trial on the 22nd.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I think there's some kind of a court meeting or something like that. They're gonna make some decisions, and so I think it kind of falls on the state to have to find him a lawyer, and they're kind of running out of time at this point.
Right.
And,
The 17th, right? He has to have a lawyer by the 17th is what
I'm pretty sure. And if he's being questioned already and stuff like that, it's probably been pretty unpleasant the last couple of weeks with him, especially without legal counsel. He's probably not cooperating because he doesn't have a lawyer with him. And I'm sure law enforcement keeps trying to pull him out and question him, and he's just not cooperating. And that's, a lot of people think that he's a scumbag for doing that, but that's his constitutional right, and it should be given to him, due process. And I'm a little bit concerned at the county's sealing of the documents, and just the way they're acting, the way the judge acted when he recused himself. There are a lot of very concerning things that kind of tell me that maybe this case is going to be a little more complicated than they originally thought.
Yeah.
And I hope he gets a lawyer.
Yeah, this is the first case I've ever heard of where, maybe you know of one where a judge actually stepped down. He said he was in fear for his safety of him and his staff and his family.
Yeah,
because of the need for information, that people are wanting this information so badly, and he's scared.
Well, this has been going on for months, though. Like there was a lawsuit about the election, and a lot of the that judge specifically was corrupt in his assessment of the case. He ended up ruling in the favor of Liggett prematurely. There were a lot of things that, this has kind of been going on for months and months and months, and people have been trying to kind of expose the corruption there. So I think a lot of this has to do with politics specifically, and, kind of creating more of an issue than they originally thought it would.
Yeah. Mona says, I agree. The trial will be delayed for sure. I've been listening to prosecutors and crime talk, and they say his lawyers will need time to prepare, so there will be a delay. Yeah. I think even if he got a lawyer day one, that was going to be pushed back. I mean, Matt, when they get to when he gets an attorney, they have to turn the evidence over to his defending attorney.
Yeah.
When he looks at that, and let's just say, and I don't know, let's say it's DNA. Would that be the time the lawyer goes, Richard, we got a plea, man, take death penalty off the table? Or
I think there's going to be an assessment of the evidence that they have against him, but I think they're trying to protect the discovery from the affiliated parties. I think there's more to this case than just the individual who was walking across the bridge, and I do believe that that's him that we're seeing there. He's the individual probably ordering them down the hill. But other than that, we don't really know exactly what law enforcement has on this individual. He has been charged with murder, but it's very interesting that he was not charged with capital murder.
What's the difference on that?
Well, felony murder is when a murder occurs under your commission, and capital murder is when the state can determine motive. And motive could be something as simple as, he just set out to kill them. But if they can't prove that, or if it's a little more complicated, then it makes sense that he would just be charged with murder. And that's why originally he was given a $20 million bond, even though the state says that capital murder is a no bond crime. Right. So I think that this is a little bit muddy, and I think we're going to learn in the coming months that there were more individuals involved in all of this, and on a very elaborate example. You know what I mean?
You got something to say?
No. I'm leaning towards the fact that there were more people involved in this.
Yeah, I am too. And I think that's why. Well, I think it's almost making it obvious that they sealed it because there's more investigation going on. I'm sure they're trying to pull in more arrests. Whether the clients have anything to do with it, I don't know. It seems awful coincidental that all this stuff kind of happened in just a matter of weeks with searching Wabash, and then 2 weeks later, Richard Allen gets arrested. Then we got now I'm not convinced on there a lot of people were saying, and I brought this up, Matt, and I don't know if you watched last week's show, but for a plea deal, I don't get why Kagan, what would work for him, because he now is saying, okay, he's going from child pornography to admitting being involved in a murder, whether he's with the guy or not, he's accessory. Those are more serious charges. So what kind of plea deal could he get off that? There's not a prosecutor in the world that would let him go.
Hey,
Now,
Yeah.
I want you to remember in the Manson case, the Tate murders.
Yeah.
There was someone that drove. I don't remember her
I
name.
know. I brought that up last week.
And
Linda
she was-
Kasabian was
yeah.
there.
Kasabian stayed out in the car while they slaughtered the
Yes.
people there. And in the end, she ended up becoming a witness. She's currently released.
Yeah.
She cooperated with California, and as a result of that, they gave her immunity for a lot of this stuff. And
They gave her full immunity. She got full immunity.
I wonder if this is really where he's going to be saved, and his involvement in this crime might be thrown out if he becomes a witness, and then he also might receive some mercy when it comes to his child sex abuse stuff.
Yeah, because
Right.
we talked about it last week, and it was crazy because I watched that Ghost in Room 14, Apartment 14, and it was about Cameron Hooker and Janice Hooker. Are you familiar with them in California?
No.
Are you familiar with them, Matt?
No.
They kidnapped a girl for 7 years. They'd murdered another one, but yeah, anyways, the wife, Janice, ended up getting full immunity for her testifying.
But knowing about it.
She was actually helped kidnap him, honestly, but
Oh,
she was
wow.
under,
It's just surprising to me
extreme
that they're-
distress and
Right.
So that's kind of what I was putting out with the Kagan situation is that he may have unknowingly, there may be people that are unknowingly involved in this just because they're a part of some weird porn ring or something, right?
Yeah, but why would you ride along? I mean, let's say that Kagan was the setup guy. Like if people came to him, hey,
Yes.
I know 2 girls are going to be blah, blah, blah. And you wouldn't drive the guy out there. I mean, and wait in the car.
No,
I
but
mean,
like you and I said, maybe you get cash and meet them at the gas station to exchange information of some sort.
that's possible. I'm
One
sorry,
thing-
Matt.
One thing that I am concerned with specifically is just the fact that Kagan, when he was supposedly in Las Vegas, he was searching how long DNA lasts on a dead
For sure.
body.
Yes.
There are a lot of questions that I have as to why he would be searching those things if he was not there in some capacity. So,
Right.
maybe he came in contact with the individual who killed them. Maybe he is the individual who killed him. At this point, even though Richard Allen has been charged with murder, there are just so many questions at this point. And I think they're a little bit more uncertain about the motive. And that kind of leads me to believe that there's more involved.
Yeah, I mean, it's almost too much of a coincidence, really. I think.
Yeah.
With there, and I do think, I know there's some people that think he's just a lone wolf killer, but I don't think so, because like I said, there's just too many things lined up with I mean, they got Kagan talking to Liberty on the day of her murder, or could it have been
Anthony Shots.
Anthony Shots? Yeah, but
We don't know.
or could it have been Richard Allen that actually was
Exactly.
talking? Was it when the verbiage changed and it sounded like an adult, or not? Well, you know what I mean, an older guy.
Yeah.
Then maybe it was Richard Allen we thought it was Tony Klein, right? Maybe talking to the girls. And do you think Tony Klein, I mean, again, this is all allegations. Do you think Tony Klein has something going on?
I find it interesting that they were asking questions about Tony Klein the way they were. And it doesn't seem like that interview was the only time that they were asking people about that.
Mm-hmm.
There are other individuals who were brought in and specifically asked questions about Tony, neighbors around there that came forward, people who knew the family.
Very violent guy.
He does have a violent history, but I think they're on the right track. And I think no matter what, this is the beginning of something that is going to spiral out of control really quickly. And we're going to see some big things happening in the next year.
Yeah.
And
So Suzanne has a good question. Matt, do you think they arrested too early?
I think they really had no choice to arrest early. And this was on my last time that I was on the show. I spoke about how some of these leakers coming out with this information and how detrimental it is to a case. It could have put them in a spot where, they were onto this guy, and as these things begin to leak and all this information begins to come out, it's giving him too much information, and they have to step in. So I think it's definitely very possible that, their hands were tied after the Wabash search and stuff. Murder Sheet was leaking all kinds of information, And I think they might have had to act quickly. And thank God they did. They got this monster off the street. But this is going to create some problems possibly for the prosecution in the end.
Yeah, I think this is gonna be a hairy case. I mean,
Yeah.
it really is. There's just so many little things that because do you try okay? Let's say they discovered a porn ring. They got two separate trials that they're investigating, really,
Yeah.
right? The murder case that Kagan may or may not be involved with, and then they got the CP ring that Kagan definitely is involved with. So they kind of got their hands full, and the two I think intertwine. I
Well, and I think it's important for the prosecutors that are doing these two cases is that they try to drag in, and get whoever else is involved in this in some capacity to an extent in order to flush other people out. Because if you end up getting somebody for the Delphi murders and then, 4 or 5 other people in this ring and you prosecute them and get good results, then everybody else, you're putting them on notice, right?
Yeah.
So information starts to come a lot more freely at that point.
Yeah, and I think that's the concern, right? I think that's what law enforcement is worried about when it comes to this probable cause affidavit. They put that stuff out there. There's something in that information that is going to put someone's life in danger, or is going to give someone an idea of where law enforcement is heading next.
Right.
So,
That's kind of interesting question there. I wonder if the murder sheet was fed information to trigger the suspect. What do you think about that, Matt?
I don't think that they were fed by any law enforcement sources. I think just like everyone else, they probably had, a fairly decent source in the beginning. They got some legitimate documents, and then after that, it just kind of spiraled out of control. But I do think some of the information they put out there was absolutely true, and I've never denied that.
Yeah,
it's just trying to decipher what is real and what isn't, especially with this case.
Right, and we had them on the show. I think they were kind of careless a little bit with some,
especially with Ron Logan's. The Ron Logan warrant was a very bad decision. That creates a plausible defense for the defendant. He's obviously, the lawyer is going to use that as an argument that law enforcement has already pointed the finger at somebody, and
right.
They were sure that Ron Logan was the killer too. So it's
yeah,
it's. Even the FBI was saying that recently. As of a month ago, people from the FBI were saying, Ron Logan was the killer. And, I was told that by a law enforcement source that I really trust. And, it's just hard to decipher.
Yeah, I agree. One of the things with me, which I know people are going to go, I can't believe, but I'm going to say it anyway. Whatever it takes. If we need to seal this affidavit, if there's actually information that could be detrimental to the case, then I'm all for that, if that's what it takes. And the thing to me, I know that if the murder sheet would have got a hold of that, it would have been all over the internet. You know what I'm saying? Compromising the case, possibly. Because Kevin always says, well, anything I think that's detrimental, I will redact it. But they're journalists too. You know what I mean? And that they're after the story. So
yeah.
So that's the kind of I hate that it's sealed. I wish we had answers. I really do. But if it jeopardizes the case, then so be it. We'll just have to wait.
I agree. I don't think, I'm starved for information too. As a seeker, I want to have all that information.
Right.
I want to know exactly what happened. But sometimes you have to kind of stop yourself, and you can't be part of the problem. And I think that's really why I chose to walk away from, doing YouTube videos and stuff, because I was part of a problem that was getting so out of control. I couldn't stop the others from doing it. And so I had to just kind of lead by example, and, so I could sleep at night, because I don't want to be part of that.
Right.
So,
right. And just like Crimezilla says, RL can cause doubt. Absolutely. And you're thinking about, trying to find a jury pool that hasn't been tainted with all this information,
Exactly.
Well, even the evidence, like we talked about in the beginning when this information came out, you remember me sitting here telling you, because of the Delphi situation, the snowball that's been created, that makes it really hard for the prosecution. Their ducks absolutely have to be in a row, because now it's oh, wait, but this person said this and this and that. And
Dude, it just takes one person in that jury who read something on Reddit to go, no, I'm not voting with you guys because I really believe this, and where it's factual or not. And that's the thing that's surprising is how many, and I'm not going to say stupid people, although I just did, but there's a lot of people that will take some of these crazy, like for instance, right
That's
now,
the world we live in.
and I hope I don't insult anybody here, but okay, I keep hearing about, oh, they found Richard Allen because he stole a tool from someone. There's not a judge in the world that would sign a search warrant for a stolen tool in someone's yard. It would not happen.
Especially on this case. Well, that's my point, especially on this case.
Because
right?
getting a search warrant for one is a hard thing to do. And so, well, hey, he took my drill. I mean, they're not going to go dig up his yard and go through his house. Matt, could they use that as an excuse to get into his home? Or, I mean, I guess that's possible.
I guess, and it could have led to a search. But specifically in a search warrant, if they're searching for an item, they have to be very specific about the item that they're searching for.
That's exactly right.
So even if they saw, like, let's say a shoebox with a sweater in it, or whatever the rumor is that they found in there, they can't just take
it. Exactly right.
And we know that they did. So there has to be someone in the house or someone in the family who contacted law enforcement and has cooperated to bring this stuff to light. And whatever information they had was enough to make law enforcement know definitively we need to get in there with a search warrant.
Right. Absolutely.
I think that's what happened.
Yeah, and that proves more to the case that this definitely was some evidence that the police knew about, and it wasn't a stupid drill or screwdriver set that was stolen.
Right,
yeah.
And
it could have been the Wabash River search, to be honest. Maybe Klein. There were some rumors going around that they were looking for a device.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe once they got the device, they were able to look at the registration on it and stuff like that and trace it back to something where they got evidence that proves it was him purchasing it. I'm only speculating, but all of this stuff seems very suspect. Just the timeline of events over the last couple months and how this has led specifically to Peru. Allen's connections to a Peru PO box. There's some pretty strange things going on here, and I think that's what might have led them there. But I also believe that there is someone in the family who has cooperated with law enforcement who might have found something.
Right. And getting back to what we were talking about, evidence or rumors or not rumors, but actual documents. I mean, we got someone here, Jigger. If I was on the jury after reading Ron's search warrant, I couldn't give 100% guilty vote on Allen.
I agree.
So, that shows right there that's
unfortunately, the state's going to have to prove and explain why Ron Logan is not a suspect. They're going to have to exonerate Ron in the courts.
Would they do that during his trial?
They would have to. They would have to prove with evidence and have to explain why they originally looked into him. They arrested him on a parole violation, that he, was the prime suspect for a number of years. They're going to have to explain all of that to a jury in order to kind of overthrow that, or the courts are going to have to make that Ron Logan warrant inadmissible.
Right. I mean, the only weird thing about that whole thing to me is that Ron wanted an alibi before they even found the girls. Now that was kind of strange. I think he might have found the bodies. And this is only speculation, but there is a lot of information that I've found out over the last couple of months with the lawsuit stuff that was very damning to Ron Logan. And I do feel that he's innocent. There's a good probability that he's innocent, that he heard that the girls were missing, possibly wandered down to the edge of his property and found a grisly scene, and kind of as a knee-jerk reaction might have contaminated it and freaked out. And that might have led law enforcement down this bad road. Because the FBI, right up until the end, believes that Ron Logan is the suspect. And, they were removed from the case a couple years ago, and it kind of explains it away. But it makes you wonder, what kind of other evidence they have against him to be able to get a probable cause warrant like that. That's true. Yeah. And the defense attorney's going to be jumping all over that shit.
Yeah, Absolutely.
Big time, big time. I guess depending on what kind of evidence they have. So one of the things I wanted to ask you, Matt, do you think, and maybe we talked about this, and forgive me if we have, but that what they were looking for with cat hair possibly?
Yes, Susie.
Could that? What?
Sorry, I was responding to Susie. Yes,
You know,
Susie.
we're doing a live show.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Okay.
I wanted to respond to her immediately about the chat. Go ahead.
No.
Sorry,
no.
Matt. Yes, Susie.
No. So we've heard rumors that R.A. or we can say Richard Allen. It's just easier to say R.A. But
Yeah.
that they found possibly a cat hair that was left at the scene of the crime. What do you think about that theory?
I have heard that there was animal hair there.
Yeah, because even Toad said it was unusual DNA. He didn't say,
it was
almost
DNA, but not what you think.
right,
Something
right.
like that.
So that could be animal DNA.
Yeah, and I know for sure that that there was transfer DNA that was on some of the clothing that they found,
Right.
and that would have been from the Patty household. But I don't believe that they have the suspect's DNA, or if they do, they only have a partial.
Now they keep talking about digging up the fire pit. I mean, is that where the cat possibly was? I mean, or did
I'm
they
not sure.
And I'm sure they may have dug in all sorts of areas in that yard. I don't know, but I do remember them saying something about one place they dug was like it is only deep enough for like a bottle cap, and then the other one was the fire pit, which I'm thinking that would have been the deepest hole. That's probably where the cat would have been to extract a hair, if that was the case on that.
Yeah, I'm not sure, but hopefully they found whatever they're looking for. You know? I don't know if you saw the creepy pictures that he took of his daughter and stuff.
Oh God,
Oh, my
yeah,
God.
I got him. Yeah, I'll show that some of you guys. I mean, probably everybody's seen it. I don't know, but I will go ahead and pull those up. And I blotted her face out.
There's one of her also in a tie-dye shirt.
Yeah, and it's one of those support Libby and Abby shirts. Did you know
It's very
that?
creepy. Very
Yeah,
creepy.
so there's one. It's like,
Yeah, and let's zip through these because I feel bad for her though, man.
I do.
Like, I do. Like that sucks so bad. And there's a cat.
yeah, there's
Just saying.
yeah. Well, no, I mean everybody's. Yeah, you can see the cat clearly on there.
Oh, I
But
feel
those-
so bad for.
I
their
do feel
family,
bad. I
though,
feel
dude.
horrible for the family. And then because you keep hearing people go, "Oh, well, how could she not know her husband was a serial killer?" It's like, well,
Just fucking happens all over.
BTK,
Jesus Christ,
Ted.
people.
I mean, I'm sure Ted Bundy's girlfriend.
You never walk in thinking, "Oh man, BTK just made me dinner. That's nice." No, dude. Like
Hindsight is always 20/20.
for
It
sure.
is. It is.
So
For sure.
I'm sure that she probably recognizes some strange things now looking back.
Evil lives here, man. Great show.
But you don't want to believe that your loved one is a piece of shit.
Right.
And,
No, absolutely.
you want to believe that he's different, and I'm sure that these type of psychopaths, because it takes a psychopathic person to be able to do something like this, they can compartmentalize very well.
For sure.
They could just shut it off like a light switch.
For sure.
So it's something that comes easy for them to just lie and manipulate those around him. Their whole life is a manipulation. So,
Which is oftentimes why they get themselves in trouble inside of an interrogation room, or they think that they can work their way out of anything. So
Yeah,
right.
going back to that, Matt, when we were talking about the interrogation, what on that procedure? What happens? I mean, do they bring him in, and every time he says, "I revoke my right," my Fifth Amendment rights or whatever, and he just leaves, or do they call him in like every single day trying to?
I don't think that they can by law. I think the second that he says, I want
attorney
to
is
speak to
over.
a lawyer, they kind of throw in the towel. And I think that's where their statement that he was not cooperating comes from.
Okay.
but can't they like get the guy a cheeseburger and a Coke in the interrogation room? You know what I mean? Can't
Yeah,
they do
but
that though? Like,
Well, he could deny it. Want an attorney, and he could say, "Hey, I want a hamburger and do something."
no, I mean, I'm just like,
No,
there's
yeah,
ways
yeah.
to get like somebody talking though,
Yeah,
right?
but they
That are
can't. They
illegal?
can't. It's illegal. Once
So that was going to be my question,
when he
because
pulls the attorney card, it's game's over
for how long though? Like,
until his attorney gets to him.
I mean, but then can you go back to him later and be like, "Hey," or is that just completely?
Question-
That's
Yeah,
obviously
he's invoking his Fifth Amendment right, and that
Right.
Yeah.
he doesn't want to incriminate himself. And a lot of people think he's a horrible person for doing that, and in a lot of ways he is. But at the same time, he's doing a smart tactical
That's a smart
decision.
thing.
Because
Absolutely.
law
We
enforcement
talk
is
about it all the
not
time.
trying to be his buddy, not trying to give him a Big Mac and make him
No.
comfortable. This is a murderer who killed 2 kids. So, I think that that both sides are kind of playing poker here.
Yeah, I agree. In Crimezilla, they did not secure the scene properly. Small town law enforcement never had a double crime. Yeah, that's true. That Matt brought that up years ago about how people were just tromping around on,
Yeah.
locals and stuff. Because I think they really thought, well, these are just runaway girls, or they're lost, or we'll find them. And I don't think they were thinking a homicide was happening. Although, man, you got to follow protocol, right, Matt? I mean,
Yeah.
if
Well, 15% of the town was searching that night.
yeah.
So the entire town, 15% of them, there were, that's quite a few people. And, there were a lot of people just trampling all over everything. People were urinating on trees and throwing garbage and spitting and
cigarettes.
So by the time they realized that they were trampling all over crime scenes, I think it was just too late.
Jesus.
Let's see. He said he would get a lawyer. The state had more time. Yeah.
He did say that.
Yep.
But I don't think his wife's going to stay with him. So
no.
Yeah, I know. We're going to see that divorce filing, and some YouTuber are going to grab that as soon as that hits the court.
Yeah.
So yeah, absolutely. So Matt, you're saying something earlier about I don't even know what's the lawsuit that's going on with Carroll County right now. What's it all about?
Well, the lawsuit was about Liggett's election and him, the county doing hatch violations. They've been taking federal funds, using county vehicles to put signs up and endorsing one specific candidate, even though there were several running in the sheriff's department. That ended up getting thrown out by the county. The county manipulated a lot of things and ended up getting off that charge. So that really sucks, but it brought a lot of things to light. On top of that, it kind of exposed a lot of individuals to a scrutiny that they had never received before. And I think that's where Diener and some of these other people who are kind of freaking out are, running into problems with the public. And it's because, the public has lost faith in their government. And it's really unfortunate that people still voted Liggett in, knowing that things were not going to change with the investigation. And I also think that the choice to come out with that press conference and that arrest at that specific time had a little bit to do with politics as well. It was only a few days before the election. It's very concerning to me to watch the county, that I know definitively is corrupt, manipulate the entirety of the game, and then stand up on stage and tell everybody, we've arrested a guy for murder, and then we're not going to tell you any information, and keep perpetuating this when the public is losing faith in them.
Interesting.
Yeah. So for my viewers, tell them who Liggett is.
Tony Liggett is the lead detective in Carroll County who runs the Delphi Homicide Task Force. So, he's, in my opinion, a villain. A movie type villain, just a guy who, does whatever he wants there and kind of gets away with it. A good old boy. I'm not a fan of Tony Liggett.
I couldn't tell.
You don't say.
You really? No. So, God, what was my question going to be? I had a good one. Okay. So, Carter is asked all the time about is this the man on the bridge? And sometimes he makes it sound like he's saying yes, and then sometimes he's making it sound like no. Do you think the guy we see on the bridge is Richard Allen, or do you think
I believe that that's Richard Allen? Yes.
Okay. I do too. The stockiness, the whole body shape fits.
You really see it. You really see it in his face. Everything kind of comes into view, unlike it's ever come into view before.
Yeah.
There have been a lot of times where I've been wrong and incorrect, and been sure of things, but this feels very different. And I think I'm confident that they have enough evidence to charge him with murder if they're doing it.
For sure.
Because this case has been so dodgy that it would be very foolish for them to kind of just jump on this.
Very. Yes.
Yeah. One of my mods says someone's being nasty. So if you're going to be nasty, you're going to go on timeout.
Yeah,
and if it happens again, you're going to get blocked.
Hey, mods, you guys know, whatever you guys feel like,
Yeah, we're
You know the feel.
yeah. If you
The
think they're
life
being
after
dis-
life vibe.
yeah. So guys,
We
just
don't do that.
block them, or I mean, don't block them, but just time them out for a little bit. If they can behave, that's fine. But if it gets
This
to
is
where
this is a legitimate conversation. It's just what it is.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
God, see, that's what I hate. As the channel grows bigger, now we get trolls.
Oh, it's
It's all good.
we
I'm used to it now.
yeah. This
I'm
guy.
used
The
to it.
days when we had 5
knows
people in the
what's up.
chat room, those beautiful times, wasn't it?
Yeah, absolutely.
Everybody liked us, and it was all good. So let me see. So Matt, is it okay if I open up a discussion? Like if I put a little link in there for anybody who's got a question for you or wants to come on or anything like that?
No, that's perfect.
Now watch, no one will do it. Everybody last week said, "Oh yeah, let's do it." Okay, so if you want to come on, and you're gonna have to be respectful, like I said, and also if you come on, I need turn. If you don't want to be on video, that's fine, but turn your video camera on so I can see you first, and then you can block it out. Some of those weird guys like to.
I don't want any,
you know,
apparitions or anything to call in. So.
Yeah, we want to keep this G-rated as possible, right? So what? Hey, hello.
Hi.
Sorry about that. The wife just came in, and
Hey, Pamela.
and the wife comes in, I got to look over there. So, all right. So, Matt, what's your theory on this? As far as I mean, we kind of talked about it and everything with the clients and stuff. Do you think Kagan, when that leaked out about him being in a red Jeep with someone, he didn't say any, Richard Allen or his dad. Do you think he drove this guy to the site?
I think there's a possibility. I have a tendency now to kind of feel like a little weary about all the information that's been coming out the last couple months, just because there have been so many times where everybody's kind of jumped the gun and gotten so out of control. Even I've done it, so I'm going to play cautious on that because. But I definitely think it's possible that there's something to what they said there.
Yeah, you and I talked earlier today. You said something about the press conference. Do you want me to pull? Is there something on the press conference you want people to see, or did I misunderstand you?
No. I just I thought maybe we could discuss some of that. If you already showed that, then that's fine. But
no, we can play it and pause it if you want at certain parts.
Sure.
I'm sure not everybody has seen this, so let me see.
You can do it, Keith.
No, I know I can do it. I'm just trying to.
I was just giving you.
I've got so many screens open right now.
Superintendent of the Indiana State Police, Doug Carter.
Just tell me when to pause it, Matt.
Sure.
Give me just a second here. Seldom do I have prepared remarks, but today is different because I do not want there to be any confusion or ambiguity with what I will say. Today is not a day to celebrate, but the arrest of Richard M. Allen of Delphi on 2 counts of murder is sure a major step in leading to the conclusion of this long-term and complex investigation. First, I'd like to speak directly to Anna, Mike, Becky, Kelsey, your extended families, along with the entire Delphi community that certainly has grown and now includes our nation and even many countries around the world.
I think it's rude that they didn't bring up Carrie. But
What's that? I'm sorry.
I think it's very rude that that Carrie's name was not brought into this.
Right.
I just want to speak up for her because she's always left out.
Sure.
Proud to report to you that today, actually last Friday, was the day. And an arrest has been made. Thanks to literally hundreds of media outlets that have been steadfast in reporting and keeping the memories of Abby and Libby front and center. Many of you in the room have developed relationships with me personally, and I always have a personal perspective, and today's no different. But from a very personal perspective, you have provided.
I'm positive, Richard Matt. Crimezilla, I brought you on. You probably figured that out, but just letting you know. How you doing?
I'm doing great, thank you.
Good deal.
If you lose me, we're in the middle of a hurricane here. So
Oh my God! Now that
Well, thanks for being on.
that gets a big applause.
Sure does.
Okay, here we go.
I'm here. I'm good. Hey Matt, how you doing?
Good. How are you?
Good. It's been a long time.
Sure has.
Okay, so I'm going to continue. Like I said, Matt, just tell me any point to pause it.
You all have provided inspiration and support, even while oftentimes frustrated with us and me. You continue to encourage the efforts, and you too believe that one day we would all be here participating and sharing this news. To the entire law enforcement community, which includes all local, state, and federal agencies, which are far too many to specifically mention today, thank you, thank you, thank you. We are going to continue a very methodical and committed approach to ensure that if any other person had any involvement in these murders in any way, that person or persons will be held accountable. Since the murders of Abby and Libby, 2,086 days ago, the daily investigative team has worked tirelessly and is certainly worthy of mention today. Specifically, Sheriff Linsonby, the Sheriff of Carroll County, Detectives Tony Liggett, Detective retired Kevin Hammond, former Delphi Chief and now the prosecutor's investigator Steve Mullins, State Police First Sergeant Jerry Holman, Detectives Jay Harper, Dave Vito, and Brian Harshman, along with members of the United States Marshal Service, specifically Agent Jeremy Clinton and Agent Bill Colfers. With them today is Dan McClain, the U.S. Marshal, appointed U.S. Marshal. Our state police analyst, our scientist from many different disciplines within our laboratory division, Mrs. Kathy Shank, for your incredible dedication to detail and to so many others that I know I've missed. I really believe that Abby and Libby would be proud of you for standing strong, even in the face of immense pressure and perpetual criticism. Some of these individuals have postponed retirement, passed on promotional opportunity, have dedicated personal time away from their families, given up nights, weekends, and holidays, all while in the pursuit of accountability for Abby and Libby. I know that today's announcement will not diminish your resolve, and I hope you have found just a bit of peace in this most complicated world. This is really important. While I know you are all expecting final details today concerning this arrest, today is not that day.
Contradictions.
Today is not that day. This investigation is far from complete, and we will not jeopardize its integrity by releasing or discussing documents or information before the appropriate time. Prosecutor Nick McClellan, of course, will share additional information about what we can and cannot say, and also explain to you why the probable cause affidavit is temporarily sealed by the court and not available. And by the way, he has been a tremendous asset to this team. I'm yet again asking you for your patience and please your understanding while our system of due process works. Also remember that all persons arrested are presumed innocent. All persons arrested are presumed innocent. You all will have an innate desire to subjectively interpret and then report what you think. We in the law enforcement realm cannot, and you should never allow us to, talk about what we think concerning facts, but rather discuss and share at the right time what it is we know. The time will come when additional details can be released. But again, today is not that day. It's about Abby and Libby, their families, and this community, this nation, and even our planet. The prosecutor has been very clear with law enforcement about what his expectations are, about what can and cannot be released, shared, or discussed. So we will, of course, comply. If you choose to be critical of our silence, be critical of me, not the front line. These are the folks that have committed their entire lives to a successful conclusion. In other words, a guilty verdict.
A collusion.
As we move to the next phase of this investigation, I will continue to offer all resources that the ISP has to not only the investigative team I anticipate growing, but also to Prosecutor McClellan as we prepare for the coming months. Again, Nick has been very resolute and very clear, and I'm most grateful for his leadership. And it's going to be really important as we move forward. Please continue offering tips that you would like to share. The many avenues to report will remain open and will be available to all. Please continue doing that. In closing, I stand before you in this church and very place where we held our first briefing nearly 6 years ago, and just hours after the murders of Abby and Libby. Right here. Pulling in today, I wasn't really sure what emotion I would experience. But peace came over me. And I didn't expect that to happen. And I hope all of you, with all the different responsibilities you have from around the planet today, have felt some of that as well. But remember, we're not done. I think what we all have experienced proves that together there's nothing we cannot do. But more importantly, giving of ourselves, all of us, giving of ourselves matters more than what we could ever receive. Abby and Libby, though in death, have had a profound effect on so many of us, on how we live, and as importantly, who we all should be. I would now like to introduce to you my friend and the Carroll County Sheriff, Tom Ledsaby, for his remarks. Sheriff.
You could skip this one.
Okay. Do you want me to just stop it, or do you? Is
Yeah,
it,
let's talk to them.
Yeah, we could talk to some people after that if you want.
Okay, let me remove that. Right. I hope this doesn't take it off completely.
I want to first say, like, that press conference felt weird.
How so?
And I just don't know if it's because it's been so many years since they've made statements, or if I'm reading too much into it, but it just, there seemed to be a lot of tension, and, maybe it was because the crowd wanted information and they weren't going to give it.
Right.
Yeah. Well, he had been nervous of it at that press conference because he knew he's going to be saying we can't give you any answers. So I'm sure they were under a tremendous amount of stress, I would think, because of that.
Yeah, I'm sure that they have something on this guy, though. There's no way that they're gonna arrest him the way they did, and this just be a complete fabrication.
Well, what made you uncomfortable about the words?
I don't know. It just
Actual like words, because you said something. What did you say? Collusion.
it's just it's more the way the county's acted up to this point.
Right.
And then in addition to that, the way they're acting now in regards to the evidence against this individual, there are just a lot of unanswered questions at this point. And, it seems every time they make statements that there are more questions afterwards that just make me wonder if something weird is going on. I try not to go down these rabbit holes and stuff like that, but it's pretty hard when it comes to this case just because of how everything's been.
For sure.
So.
Crimezilla, did you have something?
I agree with them. I think it was, I think that they truly are hiding something, and I don't think they don't want it out. And then I need to say hi to my friend Mel at Cold Truth.
Hi, Mel.
Hey, Mel.
She's the best, you guys.
I'm familiar with her. She's the one that
Hey, Cold Truth.
that does those videos on Greeno, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
She is Cold Truth.
Yeah. Did you, not to get off subject, but did you guys see Greeno come out with his little fake thing of
All tearful.
all tearful and and I'll finish this up real quick, but it's just like, man, when he made that statement about that he talked to the little girl, outside of the courthouse, and like, there's no way they would have brought that little girl near that courthouse. I mean, it was just, and then he took the video down like 20 minutes later, boom, it's gone.
I think that's why they actually took him out of Carroll County Jail when he was arrested. I think because I'm pretty sure that Greeno's being held there.
Yeah.
So, and I think that he would have been leaking stuff, or he would have been that guy trying to grift his way into a couple quarters.
Isn't that like a microcosm for this entire case, though? And why it's so crazy is because, that's part of the Delphi situation, as we call it on this channel, right?
He would have called himself Donnie Brasco.
Yeah, like they literally have to take this YouTuber out of a prison, probably. Yeah. Like, it's insane.
Could you see like Greeno? He's working in the cafeteria and he's slipping a note in a hamburger to the guy.
2 patties.
Yeah.
God bless.
Greeno's responsible for a lot of the rumors
absolutely
that were put out.
Yep.
That guy's the biggest con man, and there are still people that I see when someone talks about Greeno or someone that knows him, they go, "Hey, tell Greeno we support him and we're waiting for him to come back." I'm like, what's wrong with you people?
There are people that put $1,000 on his commissary and stuff.
That's insane.
I don't know how he does it, but
he's smooth.
Yeah, I mean,
criminal.
Yeah, I mean, when I first watched his channel, he sucked me in for a little bit until I figured out he was just a con man.
Yeah.
But anyway,
and it's sad because he's taken this case, and like for people like us that have been in it since the very beginning, and then you have all these newbies coming in going, well, this happened and that happened. No, it didn't. It was made up by a creator, and everybody believed it.
He was kind of the Jerry Springer of YouTube.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, he clouded the case so bad.
If it makes you guys
the reenactments and stuff were gross.
Hey, if it makes you guys feel better, I have never heard his voice ever in my life.
Yeah.
So
well, you don't watch YouTube very much.
That should make you guys feel better.
Yeah.
Do yourself a favor and don't.
I'm not going. Yeah, I've been warned. Believe me.
So Kennedy Phillips has a question here. Crimezilla, anybody? If RA did come forward to law enforcement in the beginning, did they take his DNA? I'm saying no.
I heard that he was a witness.
Wow.
Yes.
I heard that he was a witness, that he actually was a witness who was, known to the police to have been at the bridge on that day. I don't think they took his DNA, and unless they did, and they're running into the issue that there is no suspect DNA down at the scene.
Mm-hmm.
but I know he was going under an alias for some reason.
Right.
So I think it's Craig R something or other, Renfrew.
It's like way up there, so you might just have
Yeah,
Susie Smith again.
I'll just read the question. So we have another question.
Well, this is actually the question
that we were looking for. Yeah, and it said, "Does RA know the details of the PCW?"
It does say that he was noticed. So that is, I don't know if they gave him a physical copy, but they definitely showed him what they were there to search for and arrest him for.
Okay. So and forgive me because what's PCW exactly?
Probable cause warrant.
Okay. Now, Matt, do they show him any? I guess they can't show him any evidence yet, right?
He wouldn't have any discovery at this point without legal counsel, I don't think. Even though he's entitled to it, I don't think that the discovery is probably being gathered at this point. So they're going to
Wow. So even if he asked for it, then they wouldn't show him.
It's going to go on their timing because the defense has to prove, or the prosecutor has to prove the case against him. It's not on the defense to kind of prove his innocence.
Okay. I can't read.
What mute? I didn't know if she muted herself.
Oh no, she did.
Okay, I was just making sure.
Yeah.
Okay.
Absolutely. So, Crimezilla, what's your take on all this? Do you think Richard Allen's involved with the Kleins?
That's the $1 million question.
That is, isn't it?
It is, and I'm not going to touch it with the 10-foot pole.
Yeah, smart lady.
I don't blame you.
Yeah, because I mean,
I'm not. Yeah, no, not going to go there. Here's the thing. Now that he's arrested, we are all going to have privy to this information. But I do think that we all need to be patient because there needs to be justice for these two teenagers that were brutally murdered. And I want to make sure that we're keeping the innocent over the evil. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
These families deserve justice. And the more rumors that get out and the more people are releasing stuff on this case, it is going to contaminate it.
Yeah.
And we want to save it because these families, there's a 5% chance that they were going to solve this case after a year. And that they have, whether by accident or by investigation, which who knows which, we really have to let the people that know what they're doing do their jobs. And that's not saying anything bad about YouTubers, all of them.
Right.
But people need to let this case play out in the court system, not on public platforms. Facebook is the worst.
Yeah, but it's drama, Crimezilla. Everybody loves the drama.
Everybody loves drama.
They love it. They love it.
They do.
Yeah, I hate it.
Do. And that's why there's
Same.
a lot of people out here trying to make sure that the right information is being put out.
Absolutely.
So,
Now that should be left to a court, though.
exactly.
There is a petition that's circulating that's asking the public. I think it's upwards of 40,000 signatures or something on this thing.
Yes.
that are asking for it to remain sealed. And while the idea of that is a good thing, I'm not convinced that that's going to have any effect on the court system.
Well, and there's several good lawyers out there that are saying they have never in the history of the United States seen where a whole case like something like this was sealed.
Exactly. Something is definitely
Off.
counting not in their favor when it comes to this. And every time they
Right.
go to the courts, the higher courts, to try to, keep this stuff from the public, I have a little bit of a problem with it. And the reason I do is because there are transparency laws that are there that provide the public the ability to request these public documents. And, several times the courts have ruled in the favor of the media, and the county has refused to release the documents anyways. There's been a lot of very strange behavior on the part of them, and you know,
And
it
there
really
has
concerns
been
me.
for years.
Yeah, it really
They've been
concerns me.
hiding a lot for years. And so I understand why people are anxious and want the information. There's a lot of us that do. But yeah, you can't, they're not going to be able to hide it forever.
Right.
There's other cases that are brutal and missing kids, and that everything is available, you know?
So how long do you think, Crimezilla and Matt, when there has to be a time though, right, where they have to release this to the people? Now, will that be? I heard Doug Carter talking about something that it could be sealed for a very, very long time. Even is it right before the court case, or is it after the court starts, or what happens with that?
The thing that concerns me about all of this is, you know, this sets a dangerous precedent to other cases. They have to abide by the Freedom of Information laws. So if the courts end up ruling that this should be public information, you know, I feel that it should be released. But
That's a dangerous
at the same time,
Hey, Seth, you're there.
Yeah.
They have to abide by the Freedom of Information laws.
Can you turn your?
Yep.
Ruling
Sorry, I
that,
didn't realize
this
I
should
was
be
up.
public information.
You're okay.
Okay, there we go.
That's a
listen
really
to my goofy voice.
Hey, Matt, will you continue with what you're saying though? How it's such a bad precedent for other cases, because that's really interesting.
I just the media has a right to this information, or to have an explanation as to why something's not being released, and I just think that the county is not. They're kind of keeping themselves in a legally gray area. You know, there have been rumors circulating that that he has not received the proper documentation of his probable cause and stuff like that. That would begin to kind of break, you know, his rights as a defendant, and then also protecting that from public scrutiny unwarranted. You know, if the courts end up ruling that it should be released, then I think it should be released. But I think the public on both sides, you know, people wanting it released and people not wanting it released, we just have to rely on the legal system to get this done. And you know, I think all the petitions we can put out there aren't going to solve anything.
Right. I don't either.
You know, it's not going to prevent or cause them to release these documents, because in the end, it's determined by a judge.
Right. So, do you see any more arrests coming on this?
I think so.
To anybody? What do you think, Crimezilla and Sassy Sandy? What's up? Think there'll be more arrests?
Definitely more arrests.
I
Okay.
agree.
Yeah. So I won't say who you think that might be, or do you think? Yeah, because I know you don't want to talk about the Kleins or anything, but
Who doesn't?
Crimezilla. She
It's
don't want to
not
talk
that
about
I don't want to
people.
talk about the Kleins.
You just don't want to spread misinformation.
They're not innocent in this. They obviously had something running out of their house, and it's in the paperwork. You can't fight that. But I do think that, in a sense, if younger one was involved, he kind of skid a bullet there, because they only got him on the CSAM stuff.
Right.
Well, and if he is the driver too, like I said before,
Exactly.
he could get immunity.
Mhm.
You know, on some level, I don't think he'll get complete immunity, but I think they will, you know, plea him down for cooperating, if not throw some charges out.
Right.
Do you think those 5 charges that were dropped had anything to do with Richard Allen's arrest?
I don't think so. Typically, you know, with that amount of charges, they end up kind of putting them together. So a lot of times you'll have duplicate charges. You'll have people getting charged with crimes that that have to be adjusted because maybe the evidence doesn't point specifically to that charge in the end. So
Right.
before they go into a court of law, they have to determine what they can get a guy on and what they can't. And I think that those 5 charges might be in a questionable area. Maybe the victims have not been found. Maybe they appear young, but could be of age. There are a lot of factors that come into play here.
Right.
What do you think, Sassy?
What I'm thinking is mostly about the press conference. People are saying that, oh God, what's his name? Oh,
Carter?
anyway,
Carter?
yeah, that he was crying. I think he had a cold. He wasn't crying, was he?
No,
With
I
all
think he had
the
a cold.
sniffling.
He was
Yeah,
sniffly.
He was
yeah.
sniffling.
I mean, it's a bit much that
Head
he's
cold.
standing there sniffling and crying. But anyway, so
He's a
but
showman,
like,
though.
yeah, I know, but that's for a person in his position, that's a little bit unprofessional. So,
I
but
agree.
anyway, but like you, Matt, I feel like that conference, so ambiguous, like everything that was being said. Now, because I'm from Australia and we've got different laws and things over here, but from what I can work out, what Alan was charged with, I feel like it was a group thing and he participated in it. I feel like clients were involved. Keegan drove a long way across without a license. So I feel like there might have been somebody else with him, that it could have been intended to be some kind of assault on the girls, and another party that was there got a little bit carried away and actually committed the murders. So because the way he's being charged, it wasn't his intent to murder,
Right.
where if he was out there on the bridge stalking, that would be his intent. But it's something that happened in the commission of another crime.
There's
And that's
something
why-
to the crime itself that appears that they don't know the motive completely.
Yeah, well, that's really just the only reason why I feel like there are more people involved.
Yeah.
Because it would be a straight murder because there was absolute intent if he was out there on the bridge looking for some victims. So,
Yeah, I
I'm not
think
even
it's
100%.
I agree. I think it's just too much of a coincidence that he was out there when Libby and Abby were out there.
Absolutely. And like, Keegan searching that petrol station in the area, which is 2 minutes up the road from his home. Too many coincidences for me to disregard that at least Keegan had some involvement. But I really believe, I know people drive without a license, and he'd talk about driving to get his dope and everything, but that was only up the road from him.
Right.
He's
Yeah.
also a pathological liar. So, I'm pretty sure in the interrogation he lied about having a Lamborghini or something. And they brought out
right.
the fact that was Anthony Schatz that had that. So
He
Yeah,
lied about having a six-pack and everything as well, didn't he? But but he definitely didn't come from his lips. It came from the data. He definitely Googled that petrol or gas station, as you call it, over there. So some link there, I'd say. But
Yeah, I'm just going to show a
I
picture of the map here, and I don't have the live one, but you can see the blue dot down towards the end there. It's Richard Allen's, and then less than a mile away is the Marathon gas station. So it's either a hell of a coincidence or I don't know. That's just really close. It's walking distance to that guy's house. And
too many coincidences.
Yeah,
he could have just followed the woods back to his place, basically.
That's what
We looked at it.
That's a
pretty
good,
hardcore last week.
super good point.
Keith and I just sat around looking at this.
I got the map on again because I know you can't see my pointer, but if you look down by Richard Allen's house to the right of that, there actually, Matt, isn't there? Someone told me there's actually trails through this big foresty part and across
supposed tunnels, or like dikes where water used to flow.
Yeah.
The only, so it's very possible that he just followed the creek line, and walked down towards his place.
Yeah, I guess the only thing would be he would at one point he'd have to get on the road though, because
he would have to he'd have to go through somebody else's property, which is extremely risky. But obviously, this was all very risky.
The Marathon gas station, actually, the back of that place also goes to the tree line. So
interesting.
Oh, does it?
It's kind of possible that he could have came out there.
That's
speculation.
I think it was a meetup place, and possibly RA returned home via that way. But yeah, who knows? Really, it's all just speculation. But just that press conference just really gave me the gut feeling that there are other people involved, and I guess that's why they've sealed that RCA or whatever it is as well.
Yeah, there's something in the evidence that maybe tells someone else, oh shit, they're coming.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I know there were several warrants that were served too by the federal marshals in, I believe, Lafayette. There was one. There might have been another one in Peru as well, all in the days after. And I haven't really heard any news reports on who was arrested or who was searched. So we could be seeing some arrests coming up very soon.
Oh, interesting. Yeah.
So, Matt, I'm sorry. Go ahead. Whoever I interrupted. Were you done? I'm sorry.
Now we're all not talking.
No, you're fine. So, Matt, they say the press or not the press conference, but the trial, was it March 20th? Is that correct? Is when it's supposed to be, or March something?
I think there's some kind of pre-conference in January, and then
the trial's March. Yeah.
Now that's going to be pushed back. There's no way that's going to happen then.
Because I would even think, if the prosecution doesn't have their investigation, like let's say there's still arrest, that could take some time.
Yeah.
Is it possible that we may not see a court date till 2024?
I bet you.
Man.
It'll be 2023, like late 2023, by the time we really start seeing things. I think there's going to be a whole lot of, you got to figure Kagan's been sitting in jail for 2 years?
Yeah, 2 years.
He's still trying to push his case back and stuff like that. I'm sure that these criminals are going to try to do the same thing. They want it to last as long as they can, to build as good of a case against the prosecution as they can. And likewise, the prosecution is going to want to build the best case they can to ensure a conviction. So it's.
So will they move on? Will they move on with Kagan's trial date? And then
I think Kagan's getting near the end. I think Kagan's getting near the end of his run. He's trying to push it back again. I saw it on the news that he recently put in something. He's in negotiations with ISP or something like that again. But this is a tactic that's been used several times before. A lot of times it just falls through, and it's just the defendant trying to, extend it by another month or something like that.
Okay. Yeah.
What are your thoughts?
Go ahead, Sassy.
Sorry. What are your thoughts that if the clients were involved, that's what he negotiated to give the information, that he would not be charged in the murders, because they've got enough on him with the CSAM, really.
Yeah, I think that it's very possible that he's trying to work out some kind of deal in that way, but I also want to tread lightly and cautiously to not jump to any real big conclusions until we get a little more information. All we really know is that there's some connection to the victim, to Anthony Schatz, and there's some connection, in the murder of the girls to this individual who's been arrested now.
Yep.
Yeah, Mona was saying a DA was saying it's possible, and I've heard this from another DA too. They were able to connect. If they're able to connect him to another murders, that's why they sealed the dock so they can complete their investigation, and that's a good possibility.
Very good point. There are some rumors going around that he might be connected to Evansdale.
Oh man!
So even though for years they've been denying it,
come true.
But apparently he was near Evansdale or in the Waterloo area in 2012.
No way.
So
didn't the father of one of the victims come out and say that he absolutely thinks there's no connection?
Yeah, that was this. Gray Hughes had called this the father, and I can't remember what his name is.
I'm good friends with Drew.
Okay, yeah, he said he talked to him today, and he says he doesn't think there's absolutely any connection between Richard Allen and his daughter's murder.
We operate a group, an Evansdale Facebook group and stuff, and so I'm always in contact with Drew. And there is a very promising lead that's been turned into law enforcement officials, and they're currently looking into an individual who lived in Gilbertville, which is very close to Evansdale. And let's just all cross our fingers that this ends up going well, because we've turned in a lot of evidence to hopefully get the FBI and stuff to look into this
Good,
guy.
Matt. Well done.
Yeah, very good.
So
That
So
case-
November 22nd is the court date to see if they're going to unseal Allen.
Oh, okay. Thank you,
So-
Crumzilla.
Yep.
Yeah, I was wondering about that because I knew there was a court date, because someone was saying, he's only got till the 17th to get an attorney, and then there's little hearings going
Right.
to be held on the 22nd.
Yeah,
So he better get a move on.
exactly.
So yeah, well, thank you for clearing that up, because I wasn't sure what that trial was about. But that's just for the sealed documents, huh?
Yep.
Which
Someone earlier in chat was saying the Allens had money because his wife paid cash for the house. I don't know if that's true or not, but I am hoping that he did think he could get a private solicitor, whatever you call it there, but she's turned her back on him. Fingers crossed. That
could be a good indication of that. Actually, I haven't thought of that.
Yeah,
in the letter, he seems pretty desperate, and
Oh, yeah, that is.
Yeah. Yeah, but thinking
she had to quit her job. She's in danger.
Yes, yeah, because people are insane. Like,
Yeah, I
why are they blaming her? Leave her alone. She's going through hell right now, I would say, because I could imagine if I found out my partner did anything, how devastated I would be, let alone something like this. So,
well, and
I
I'm
thought
sure
of it earlier. She was married for 30 years to a guy she didn't know. He
For
could have
sure.
had
Yeah.
two sides, and people need to see that. I mean, BK's daughter came out and she wrote a great book on it. They had no idea.
no,
For sure.
you don't. They're not going to come home with a big sign across their forehead saying, yeah, I killed some girls today. Like, they're going to hide it.
right.
So,
Yeah, I mean,
it's just
they're going through
insane.
they're going through absolute hell right now, and I hate
Absolutely.
Unimaginable.
and it drives me nuts when I see other channels and they're going like, how does she not know? It's like, that's crazy. He's not going to admit he murdered. I mean, and plus, like, you think good about your loved one.
He ruined their lives.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely.
He ruined it. Their lives will never be the same.
No, their world's upside down right now, and the poor
Yeah.
daughter. Think about her going to school. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Or well, she's college age now, right?
She's 28
Oh, okay. Well, my bad.
and
my bad.
married. But still, I mean,
But still, yeah, wherever she works,
Yeah.
it's gonna be hard for these
the
people.
media, everybody just storming in, and so their lives, they can't live their lives the way they did before this.
it's
Yeah,
really sad. It's sad that the world is the way it is, and it's
It
sad
is.
that this case is like this.
Right.
Right.
Do you think
A
it's
lot
a
of, lot of
product?
trolls.
I mean, do you think that like some of it is just a product of the time? Because earlier somebody said, I've talked to investigators who've just never seen it, like a case like this blow up. But do you understand what I'm saying? A sign of the times with, just the information that's out there and the ability to speak.
I think that the internet is a problem, and I think eventually the government is going to have to figure out a way to control it a little differently. I'm not sure how that would look, or whether that would ruin anyone's rights. But at the same time, it seems legitimate information is constantly being overshadowed by illegitimate information, and there's just a lot of very harmful things out there that kind of create this dynamic that we see on social media now. know,
For
so much
sure.
information and too much information is dangerous.
Yeah.
Because it's all subjective, especially when you have, you know, tens of thousands of different opinions and things like that. People speculating and coming out with information. People claiming to be leakers. You know,
But
it's
I
very.
think, I mean, the evolution of it, even in this case, has been so interesting because it almost seems like, you know, I said this in the last show, I guess the silver lining is that maybe a lot of people have learned, even, you know, law enforcement, how these things need to be dealt with up front, right? Because that's been something from the beginning, is that, you know, there was kind of an opening left, right, by the way this investigation was done, that allowed a rush of this information to come out. I think in the future that's handled much differently, and that might be why we're seeing law enforcement handle it so kind of awkwardly right now too.
Yeah,
You know?
I agree. And I notice a very, very big difference when it comes to Evansdale in the Delphi case. You know, I have a much better relationship with Drew and stuff because there aren't so many people that are out there trolling and
For
being
sure.
crazy. With Delphi, it's a very different dynamic. You have a lot of people who are just very hurtful and you know, want to go out and disrupt and cause chaos. And
Well, they started putting food on the table with it.
yeah,
And that
then
changes things. That changes your bottom line and why you do things, right?
you have law enforcement out there really not making statements and you know, claiming that they're counting on, you know, these groups to help out and stuff like that in the beginning, and awkwardly getting, you know, 40,000-50,000 tips. That would overload any law enforcement agency. So it's you know, it was just a system of bad choices by law enforcement when it comes to the strategy, and I think it put them in a spot where they had to go silent.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you think about social media has really ruined it for the judicial system in a
Yeah.
way with high profile cases, because like we were talking about earlier, finding a juror who hasn't watched a YouTube special or YouTube show on that, man, it's and that's a good question too, is like, think about Indiana, the whole state. This is a whole high profile case. It's not like, even if you brought, because we talked to a defense attorney the other day and he was saying, well,
Awesome. Bob Mata. If you're out there, shout out to Bob Mata.
Yeah.
Defense Diaries.
he was saying that, you know, they could actually fly in a jury from another county if they had to, but the whole state's been contaminated already.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't even know.
You must live
Not
under
that
a
you,
rock.
not that you could, but like if they could go to another state, I don't know if there's even another state.
Well, that's what. Yeah, it's crazy.
I mean,
man.
everybody pretty much knows about this case. It's really
Yeah.
caught on and been so contaminated by everybody.
Yeah,
But
I'm not
again-
really sure the procedure or whether or not they could bring jurors from out of state. I don't know the
I don't think they-
legalities of that.
Yeah, if somebody could let us know.
And that's where it's really, really important to have a good judge on this case,
Yeah,
sure.
because they're the ones that are going to be able to control
Yes.
a lot of it. You gotta, you know, they're gonna hopefully keep it pretty straight and narrow. It's like, this is how it's going to be done. And the judge that they have right now, I think, she's got the background for it.
Yes.
She's definitely, and I can't believe I'm going to say it, but she is a badass.
Nice.
Yes.
It is. That's what it's going to take.
And she's dealt with a lot of the rings, you know what I mean? I don't want to throw it out there, but she's got the background for what this case may involve. And so I think it is a really good thing. I'm trying to remember her name. Gunn? No.
Yeah, I think that is her last name.
I think it is Gunn. So I'm really interested to see how she handles it, but she's handled some higher cases. I took a look at her, and I think she's really the right one to do this case, to be honest.
I think they're going to have to bring in a different prosecutor.
I'm
not sure. I'm not sure that McLeland, you know,
Yeah.
and I don't think that he's going to be able to handle a case of this caliber.
No, and it would be in their best interest to bring in somebody that has,
Especially
dealt
with all the scrutiny.
Exactly.
Yeah, absolutely.
And when you bring them, and you can't, for some of it, like the LE in Delphi, this is a small town. They're not used to this big, it's a small community.
Right.
So, but I do think you're right. I think that in some ways it's going to have to, and I think that will actually keep it. And yes, I'm going for Gray's term, a clown show. I think it just the evidence needs to play itself out.
I agree.
Yeah.
And I think if we have really good people, and it's always innocent until proven guilty. But they obviously had something really good to be able to arrest them, because you can't just arrest somebody for tools.
Right. Absolutely.
Well,
yeah, it drives me nuts when I see people that are going, "Oh, well, it was the neighbor." I was like, "No, it wasn't the neighbor."
And they would not be moving him 3 times for tools.
Right.
Right now
no, his life is in danger.
His life is very much in danger. And I mean, a lot of people know who aren't even in jail, you don't mess with kids. And in jail and prisons, they don't tolerate that.
No.
So he is very much in danger.
Well, did you guys hear the phone call to the inmate that's in the
Yes.
jail? Yeah, and they were saying that the prisoners are already saying, "We'll find you, bitch. There's no hiding," and so.
Oh man.
Well, only the COs can feed him.
Yeah, that's right.
I mean, anybody from the kitchen could poison his food.
Yep.
So, yeah, he's in danger. But in some ways, you really want to keep him safe so everybody gets the justice deserved in this case. And all the hard work that Ellie did do it's a process.
Well, and I think he's been, they imposed on him as a high-risk suicide risk.
Yep.
Yeah.
So every 15 minutes they check on him. He has to stand up every 15 minutes, which would probably get uncomfortable. You're not going to be sleeping much.
Well, didn't I hear that they had a camera?
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure they do, but
I'm sure they do.
I think they said there's a camera in that cell.
But he still got to stand up, I guess, right? Whether,
he's got to stand up every 15 minutes throughout the day or something like that to show himself. And then he might get a few hours to sleep, but I'm pretty sure they wake him up, every few hours or something. So he's probably having a really bad time in there. And that guy was saying that all he does is sleep all day.
Yeah.
Kind of lay in bed.
Yeah.
So probably not much to do and no one to talk to for that guy.
Yeah, when I saw that video, man, when it was advertised, I thought, "Oh, cool, we might find out something inside stuff, right?" And basically, the guy's just spurting off Reddit stuff he read off Reddit. The neighbor, he was the one that brought up the neighbor thing, and yada yada yada.
You're not recording me, right?
Yeah, it was hilarious. Yeah, no, they're not recording you at all. Don't worry about it. Talk all you want.
I'm pretty sure Indiana, you only have to have the permission of one person recording.
Oh yeah.
So even though it's a little bit of a slap in the face.
Did you listen to that, Matt? That recording?
Yeah.
That was hilarious. Just like, oh man. I was so disappointed though, because I did think I thought when I saw it that they were actually, someone got a hold of Richard and it was going to be a conversation, so we could hear his voice more, so we could hear if it's down the hill, that kind of thing. And that's another thing. Man, his voice sure sounds like the bridge guy to me from when he's on that Sky thing, whatever you call it. And he's talking about, the cable breaking and just little fragments sound like the bridge guy to me.
Now we've been here before though, several times.
We have.
So it's, last time we talked, I was hearing, Kegan,
yeah, I was too. I said the same thing.
And that's why I'm looking forward to seeing if evidence. I just want to know the evidence of the case.
Right. And we all do. That's
of course, everybody wants to know. Well, what do you have that makes him guilty? I mean, obviously, picture on the bridge. That's it's nobody could figure that thing out.
I'm a little nervous that they're not going to go to trial, and then we're not going to get the discovery.
And you're not going to get right.
Absolutely.
Or the
So
action.
if he pleads, then there's going to be it's going to be kind of like the Chris Watts case where
In the
we
Golden
don't
State
get
Killer.
everything. Yeah, we don't get everything. And
Then Carter will go have a conversation with them.
I was following the Golden State Killer case for years, and when he finally, I guess he pled guilty, then it's like, he's not talking. So it's like we'll never find out what was going through this man's mind or how he got in some of these houses like he did. It's just, and you're right, that could be the deal. He pleads guilty and end of story. But we would still get the file, the case information, right? That the evidence they had on him.
we would definitely
You
know
probably
more
could
than we
connect the
do.
dots, I would
Yeah.
think.
Yeah,
But-
definitely.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
And as time goes by, it gets awfully lonely in prison, so he may start talking. You never know.
Yeah, I hope so. I mean, everybody wants answers. We all do,
My favorite one's coming back. Casey Anthony's doing an interview.
I'm sorry, what was that, Crimzilla?
Casey Anthony is doing an interview.
Oh God.
Oh, Lord.
Yep. How
Yeah.
many lies can she tell now?
Exactly.
She's
Yeah.
living in a mansion here in Florida.
Yeah, it's crazy. I
She's
mean,
living the life. Why
this is a-
come out?
yeah, this is a girl that was obviously guilty and now living the life, man. Kind of like OJ,
They just couldn't prove that it was a deliberate
Right.
homicide, and that's what they charged her with. So that's the
Yes.
that's the importance of a case. When
Yes.
these prosecutors are building a case,
Detail
look at
and-
Kyle Rittenhouse, right?
Right.
Oh,
They
yeah.
went into
Good
this. They went into this situation, guns blazing, no pun intended, but it backfired on them phenomenally because they kind of overshot
For sure.
what they were looking to charge these individuals with, and
Reasonable doubt's a crazy thing.
Yeah, the other thing that bothers me, Matt, is last week on our show, we had someone that said they confirmed that Richard Allen was in the search. Now, if that's the case, if there's DNA of the cat, he could say, hey, cat hair must have fell off while I was searching. So, I mean, God, I hope they have something like a weapon or something that ties back to him, because
I've heard that too, actually, that he was on the search.
That's bad. If that's the case, that's
So-
really bad.
It's always been a rumor that the suspect might have been in the search party.
Right. I remember that. Yep.
There is a little bit of a strange circumstance. About 10 minutes before the girls are found, someone goes to a law enforcement officer and claims that they heard from a John Weaver that the girls have been found in the water. So there is a strange thing that goes over the radio about 10 minutes before the girls are found. Now that could just be, a fluke of some sort, but I've always found that was a little bit strange. And there have always been rumors that the suspect might have been in the search parties, which creates a big problem for law enforcement.
That's huge. And Tobe would have to feel horrible about that. I mean, and
Yeah.
more so than
They
what he
weren't-
does.
They weren't getting anybody to sign documents on the 13th.
Yeah.
So people were just searching everywhere. Becky told me that they were searching mostly on the north side of the bridge, underneath the north side of the bridge. They weren't crossing to the southeast side because it got dark. So that's why the shoe wasn't found and stuff until the next day. And they didn't go down to Ron Logan's property because I'm pretty sure that he was nowhere to be found either. So, it was just a bad set of circumstances, and I think they didn't really take it seriously until it was too late.
Right. Yeah, Don Spain, that's a good question. And yeah, absolutely. Is it possible that KK will be a witness for the state against RA? And if he performs, he will get more charges dropped. Yeah, absolutely. I'm sure that he'd be state's witness. That would be, yeah.
That might be what's happening.
Lies.
What's that?
He's got a history of lying.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
makes
that's
them
true.
think
That-
he's not gonna try
Right.
to make a deal, and so they gotta make sure that he's not lying about what he's saying.
For
And
sure.
that'll be a tough thing when you've already got a history of it.
Yeah. If he wasn't directly at the kill zone, could be more difficult to explain.
I
Yeah.
agree. I agree.
Yeah, absolutely. I hope to God that he wasn't in the search party. because that's that'll be a problem. I mean, but I agree with Crimezilla. I'm sure they really got a lot of evidence before they made that arrest, I would think.
Yes.
And hopefully maybe they found some personal property of the girls in the house or buried or something that he shouldn't have, that ties him to the case.
Well, they said they brought out, it looked like books. Maybe they had pictures.
That's what I was thinking. Is they said little thin books. I mean, he could have been hiding,
Yeah.
separate pictures inside those books.
I heard it was a sweater with DNA on it, potentially.
Oh,
I
really?
also heard that there was a shoebox of some sort.
yeah.
But that's, rumors that are going around. But I've heard it from several people at this point. So it's quite honestly, it could be the truth.
Or if he has the pictures of the funeral, that he processed a copy for him.
Oh, good point.
So that's possible too. Although I guess that could be explained. They could just say, well, he was just curious or something. I mean, but still,
No,
that
he
would
worked at CVS. And
right to a jury that would be very damning. But man, he had to made a set for himself. That would have been too much temptation for him, I think.
Even more scary is the fact that this individual had access to medical records and, was handing out prescriptions to people.
Right.
This is a guy who massacred 2 children.
Yeah.
It's very concerning that he was out there for almost 6 years dealing with the public that were searching for him.
Even worse, he could develop pictures.
Exactly.
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
nobody would know.
Yeah, so hopefully, I bet they found those pictures. I bet
He's
they
scum of the scum.
Yeah, he is. Absolutely.
He just is. They all are. You just don't mess with kids.
Right. Well,
2 teenagers. So you signing up?
Yeah, we're getting ready to go here.
It's all right. My storm's picking up.
Be safe.
Yeah, be safe, and thank you for coming on. We appreciate it.
I will.
Seriously.
I'm right on the coast, right where it's hitting. So
Be safe.
Oh, be safe and stay.
Let us know.
Yeah.
I told my family, if you see me in an orange vest with a white flag, come get me.
Oh no.
Let us know.
Yeah.
We're still not unflooded from the last
I know it's
hurricane.
crazy.
It is still flooded here from that, and our beaches are gone.
Oh,
Daytona is getting hit really bad right now.
Yeah, my buddy lived in Venice when Ian hit, and he got a whole bunch of damage out there.
Yeah, right now Daytona, they've already got houses falling in,
jeez.
and the storm
Lord.
hasn't even gotten here yet.
Right.
It's here. It's just not like quite here yet on land.
Yeah.
Stay safe.
Stay safe.
Thank you very much.
All right. Good
for
night.
letting me up here tonight.
Nice talking to you.
All right. Bye-bye. So, Matt, this is your last appearance, is it?
It is. It is. Unfortunately, I'm going to be walking away from the case.
Okay.
I just need a break. I
Sure.
need some personal time, and I have a lot of stuff going on in my life right now that I'm going to be a gentleman about and not put out there. But it's a very difficult time, and I'm going to be moving back to Canada, things like that. And I just want to thank everybody who has followed me over the past few years and has supported me trying to get justice for these girls. And I'm just so happy that at least it seems like something is moving in this case in the right direction,
Right.
and that hopefully we're going to end up being able to see the trial of the individuals who did this. And
Yep. We'll get our answers. I think we're just going to have to, like you said, we're going to have to wait, and it could be, February 2024. I mean, it could go that far, I'm sure.
Well, and think about Matt, because even from the beginning, Keith and I, one of the things that we loved about you is that you were just like so invested in literally finding the truth and going down, these paths that other people weren't taking to try to find information. So it's just been. You've talked to so many people, man. It's been great.
This case has been one of the most important things in my life for years, and I've devoted thousands and thousands of hours probably at this point into looking into things and turning over tips and you know, trying to get answers for myself and for people who wondered about the case. You know, I made a lot of videos, and you know, me and Kate worked on a lot of stuff together that I still love.
Mm-hmm.
And you know, I'm just so appreciative of everybody who stood by me all these years, especially you guys. You know, you guys have become a very good friend to me, and you know, I made a lot of other friends that you know, I'm not going to stop talking to, and you know, I'll probably still be around every once in a while, and I'll definitely watch the trial. But
Yeah,
my mental health is suffering. It's been
Absolutely.
suffering the last year, and
it's got to be, man. I mean, because me and Garrett, like I said, we covered the case, but not like you.
No,
you
we're
invested your life
close
into
to
it. Garrett and I had I mean, we did 3 shows on it, and I was so depressed by the third
Yeah.
show. I was going, let's go back to spooky. You know, let's do some spooky stuff. But yeah, I can't imagine the toll this has had on you mentally.
Well, and all there's been a lot of trolls and you know, things like that, and inevitably, you know, it was a lot of those people that put a lot of hardship into the current situation that I'm in now. You know, that caused a lot of you know, issues between me and other friends that I cared about.
Yeah.
You know, I've watched you know, my good friend True Crime Jesus have his channel stolen from him, shut down because, you know, some trolls just didn't like him. They threw his driver's license out there and ruined his life.
Oh my gosh.
They call in his work, telling them that, you know, he's into children. Like, it's just horrific.
for sure.
People who don't have a life and they're basement dwellers. And then you got other people, you know, these trolls that come out with supposed leaks and stuff like that. It's just gotten so frustrating at this point that I wish everybody the best, and I just want everybody to know that I love them, and you know, that everything's okay, and you know, that I'm okay, and that life goes on. So
Yeah, you just got a new chapter starting in your
That's
life,
what I was
man.
gonna say. You're an extremely talented and passionate person, so I'm excited to see, because when you put your mind to something, you do it. What about that damn song?
Yeah.
What
Oh
the
man.
hell with this
Yeah,
guy?
you need to get back
He's
writing
like,
songs
let's
too.
play. Yeah, maybe.
I'm actually doing that. I'm going
You
back,
should.
and I'm gonna, you know, me and my friend are gonna get back together, my
Nice.
best buddy, and start working on some stuff. And you know, I probably at this point have an album's worth of material that I'd like to put down, and you know, I might focus on that for a while. I might paint.
That'd be
I might
great.
just do nothing and just walk and, you know, get a job, you know, back in Canada again, and you know, go move on with my life. You know, that's we got at least the guy who's on the bridge, I believe, and
Yep.
Yeah.
you know, I saw that through, and all I can do is just hope and pray that that law enforcement keeps going.
Yeah, and we want to thank you, Matt, for all the years that you've trusted us to come on, and it's been awesome having you on through these years. I mean,
Yeah, I love you guys.
yeah,
You know?
we love you,
too, man.
right back at you, man. This has just been, it's been a great relationship, and we'll still stay in contact. And I want the first CD when that comes
Absolutely.
out, or the MP3 or whatever it is.
Yeah.
So hey, here's what we'll do. The next time you come on, if let's say it's a few months from now, and you and your buddy record a song, send it to me, and we'll play it again.
Sure,
Absolutely.
sure.
Absolutely, man. All
I'll
right,
stay in touch.
yeah, and
Yeah,
you got
I know you
a
will.
ton of support in the chat. I mean, there's a lot of people saying they love you. Thank you for your work. Thanks for all you've done. So you got a lot of support, buddy.
Thanks.
Absolutely.
I
Yeah.
really appreciate it.
All right, man. We love you. Have a great night, and
Love you
thanks
too.
again. And we'll stay in touch as we usually do.
Absolutely.
All
man.
right, buddy.
All
Good
right.
seeing you. Eh?
Take
Good
care,
talk.
man.
Bye.
Bye.
That was fantastic.
That was good. Yeah, sad. I mean, man, the poor guy. He needs to take a break.
He's invested so much time and effort, but he, like I said, he's a smart and passionate person.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, and
He got things done, man. He's a mover and a shaker. That's for damn sure.
yeah, he invested a whole lot of time, and I mean, it's sad we won't, be popping him on every once a month or something,
But
or
maybe
twice
we'll
a
be
month.
talking to him about our other interests, which
But
is music and art.
that's absolutely right, man.
Music and art, baby.
We'll debut the CD right here. We'll do a whole show on the CD.
Absolutely.
Get away from crime and everything. At
Yeah.
that point, and just talk about music or something. That'd be awesome.
For sure.
But yeah, but man, he's going to do great things. There's no doubt. He's got a good head on his shoulders, and I see good things for Matt in the future.
It's all about intentions. We
Yep.
talk about it with
Yep.
with ghosts, aliens, and everything in our lives, right?
Right.
It's all about intentions, man.
Yep.
He has good intentions.
Just got to get your focus, focus on good things.
And if you do this, like we were saying, though, this, like, we probably did 1/1,000,000th of what he did, really.
Oh my God.
Dude,
I'm not sure we even did that.
Not even that. And you
we
remember,
regurgitated everything you said.
Early on, we were like, 3 episodes in, we're like, okay, yeah, so I can't imagine the toll it would take on, me personally.
Oh man.
So kudos and thank you.
It's almost like being a homicide detective. And I mean, that's one job, dude. I could not do. I had a buddy that was a policeman that just told me some horrible. I mean, he said, but they get so used to it. He said he would walk into a murder scene with a body laying there with eating a Taco Bueno burrito or something, and just not even think about it.
Right.
And man, I couldn't do that.
Oh man.
And especially when children are involved, forget it.
Yeah.
Forget it, man. Forget it. I couldn't do it.
Fantastic show, man.
All right. Let's close this up. Next week.
Thank you for everybody for coming.
Yeah.
Seriously.
And next week, if you guys want to do another just discussion on this, we can have you guys call in again, just see what your theories are.
We'll check social media. We'll take a pulse and see kind of what's going on.
Yeah, I would have took more people, but things kind of changed real fast with Matt was getting ready to leave. And I definitely wanted him on the show before he decided to retire from this for a while.
Absolutely.
And so I did want to devote the show to him and of course to you guys. And we do appreciate you showing up tonight. And hit the like, subscribe, and share button if you can. We don't, and again, Garrett and I, we don't monetize the channel at all.
That's not our intention.
It's not our intention.
Our intention is to have a conversation.
We have conversations and it's fun. And we look forward to every Wednesday seeing you guys. And again, like I always say, we don't take this lightly. I mean, there's things you guys could be doing. You could be with your family. That sounds bad, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Or you could be watching TV, or you could be doing something you really enjoy, but you chose to spend an hour and a half with us, and we really appreciate you guys for doing that. It means a lot to Garrett and I.
Absolutely.
And this just, we do this, and
it's a family.
It is a family, man.
Follow us on social media too, and like we're really active on Facebook and Instagram. So like, reach out. We talk to all kinds of people, right?
Yeah, all
the time.
Yeah,
it's fascinating.
I mean, if you want to be a guest on the show,
hit us up.
We'll throw you on there.
Yeah.
We'll do it. Hit us up on Facebook. I watch the Facebook pretty closely, and he takes care of Instagram. Yes, I don't even know what we're on there, but he handles all the Instagram stuff, and he's made a lot of good connections through that. So Bob Motto is one of those guys.
Matt Sullivan for you.
Matt Sullivan for me. Yeah, I remember.
Our group is awesome, man. Like, you think about the people that we get to talk to, and and question.
We've had very good guests on here.
Absolutely.
And we've been blessed enough and lucky enough that we grew 10 people like in 4 days.
It's part of a team, man.
Yeah,
that's it.
But watch, as soon as Matt leaves, everybody unsubscribes.
Yeah.
Hopefully not. Well, guys, thank you so much. Have a great night. Have a great weekend. We love you guys, and peace out.
Good night.